Chapter 3, Lesson 1, Add and Subtract Decimals from California Math, your Common Core edition of Volume 1. So in Chapter 2, you probably worked pretty hard to convert fractions to decimals, decimals to fractions. Percents were involved as well, conversions between percents and fractions. Now in Chapter 3, their focus is going to be more on decimals. And I think you'll find this chapter is a little bit easier than some of the things you found in Chapter 2. And it starts off with a really nice topic of just adding and subtracting decimals. Later, you'll get to multiply decimals together, and the process there is different. So it's really important that you learn how to add and subtract decimals first, correctly, without any confusion, before you learn to multiply decimals. So we'll go ahead and begin with a couple examples. Find the sum of 17.3 and 8.9. So we're just being asked to add these two quantities. And the key thing to do is be sure to line up the decimal points. So I'll write down my 17.3 and 8.9. My decimal places need to be lined up because when you're combining these terms, they need to represent the same value. So this is representing 3/10. This is representing 9/10. So we want to make sure to combine those two because they're representing the same value. This is in the ones position, 7 and 8, so we're lining those up as well. And then we have a 1 in the tens position. So here, go ahead and line them up. We've lined them up already. And then add as you normally would. 3 and 9 is 12. Carry the 1. 7 and 8 is 15. But I have that little extra 1 there, so that gives me 16. And then 1 and my 1 up top that got carried over, that's 2. And the decimal point comes directly down. So I know that we're not talking about multiplication yet, but something different would happen if we were multiplying these two numbers as far as how the decimal point is handled. In the case of adding and subtracting, you keep the decimal point kind of lined up with, it's lined up with the terms you added. The same thing holds for differences. We still set up our usual subtraction problem, where I've lined up the decimals. And all the usual rules when you subtract two numbers apply. You may have to borrow and things like that. So 3 minus 9, I do have to borrow from this 7. So I'll borrow 1. So now 13 minus 9 is 4. 6 minus 8, I need to borrow again. 16 minus 8 is 8. And so I get the number 8.4. The decimal, once again, goes directly down. So when we're adding and subtracting decimals, it's actually fairly straightforward, but I still want to do a few more examples. In both of the ones I did here, you'll notice that I had one number in the 10th spot and nothing else, and also one number in the 10th spot and nothing else, in a sense of coming past the 10th spot. And so that makes it easier because they kind of naturally line up. But let's see examples where maybe they don't line up and what you do in those cases. In those cases, you may have to do what's called appending some zeros. So you're adding some zeros to the end of the number, but you have to do so carefully because you can't just take any number and start adding zeros to it, and that might change the value. So let's just do a few more examples. 7.03 plus 5.1. If you think you know what happens with these, you should go ahead and try it. 7.03 minus 5.1. And perhaps one more, 38 minus 15.5. What's really nice also about these types of problems, when you compare them to what you've been working on in Chapter 2, is that these ones usually go a bit quicker and they seem to be a little bit more straightforward because you're just doing a very specific task. All right, so let's begin with this first one. So here you'll notice that I have a 0 in the tenths, a 1 in the tenths. I have a 3 in the hundredths, but no hundredths position there. So what do we do in those cases? Right, so I'm going to add my 7.03 plus 5.1. So you could almost catch me. I almost put 5.1 like that just because that's how I would add 703 and 5.1. But the decimals aren't lined up, and that's not good. We need those decimals to be lined up. So let's go ahead and line them up. So 5.1. And now we append a 0 here. And I can add zeros, I can add as many zeros as I want. This way, because those zeros are coming after a decimal point, I clearly can't add zeros if there's no decimal point. Like, say I have the number 51, and I start to add zeros to it, that number is getting bigger. But if I have 5.1, and I add zeros after that one, that's keeping the value of the number the same. I'm not changing anything. Okay. So back to our addition problem. I started with 7.03 and 5.1. I'm adding these two numbers. I added that 0 just to make things line up. So now I'll go ahead and add. 3 and 0 is 3. 0 and 1 is 1. 7 and 5 is 12. The same thing will have to be done in the case of subtracting the two numbers. 7.03 minus 5.1. Line up the decimals and add any zeros that we need. 3 minus 0 is 3. 0 minus 1, I have to borrow from this 7. And now I could do the subtraction. 10 minus 1 is 9. And finally, 6 minus 5 is 1. So 1.93 in this case. Our last problem will be letter C. 38 minus 15.5. And with 38, there's no decimal point. Where is it? Well, you could go ahead and add the decimal point and a 0 there, and that doesn't change the value of the number. So for example, 2 is the same as 2.0, which is the same as 2.00. You can just tack on these zeros, provided they're coming after the decimal point. And now I'm ready to subtract. It looks like I need to borrow again. 0 minus 5, I can't do that, so I need to borrow from that 8. 10 minus 5 is 5. 7 minus 5 is 2. And 3 minus 1 is 2. So 22.5. 22.5 is our answer here. So good.